Good morning, Amber, Jade, and Indigo. Welcome to our reading lesson. I hope you've had an enjoyable and relaxing weekend and you feel refreshed and ready to do online learning this morning. The ally for the reading lesson today is to listen to a story. It's very similar to the steps we followed last week. So let's begin our lesson. To start with, make sure that you are prepared and ready to start. So have your pencil or your pen and your piece of paper or book and use the pause button if I go too quickly. So let's look at the steps for the lesson today. We're going to have phonics to begin with, followed by spelling words of the week. Then you're going to listen and watch a story. So you're going to watch it, and at the same you'll be listening. And last of all, you're going to answer questions about the story. Right, we have our sound of the week. When I said owl, well, actually, it is the sound of the week, owl. So we have two graphemes, OW, which make an owl sound, and have OU that makes an owl sound. So which words would have the owl sound in it? And here they are. How, now, owl. And which words would have this grapheme of OU with the owl sound? So let's look at those words, the ones that we'll do this week. House, mouse, sound. So those will be our new words for the week. How, now, owl, house, mouse, sound. Let's move forward and see what's going to happen next. Well, here's the sound of the week, owl, using the grapheme OW or OU. And here they are, how, now, owl, because you do need to practice these. You need to be familiar with how to say them correctly. House, mouse, sound. And of course, here are our spelling words. I put some images there for you because it helps, especially if you're not sure about the meaning of the word. So number one, now. I'm sure you understand what that word means. I want you to listen now. And number two, howl. Well, you can see the wolves in the top image. Those wolves are howling. Howl! They make that kind of sound. I'm sure you've heard it before. Howl. And that is something called onomatopoeia. The word sounds like the action that is happening. Owl goes with the second image. If you've never seen an owl before, it's the second image on the screen. Owl. And then mouse. Lots of people have heard the word mouse, but it's helpful if you understand what does a mouse look like. I'm sure most of you already know what a mouse looks like. And number 5, house. And number 6, sound. So those are the words that we're going to practice this week. Now, how, owl, mouse, house, sound. Now, how, owl, mouse, house, and finally, sound. So you can see the graphemes in each word. Now, OW, howl, OW, owl, should be OW there, and not OWL, that's a terrible mistake. Mouse, OU, house, OU, sound with the OU grapheme. Let's move to the next slide. Your story today is called The Very noisy night. So you're going to watch the video. It's about 5 minutes long, so get yourself comfortable.
It was the middle of the night, and Big Mouse was fast asleep in his big bed. Little Mouse was wide awake in his little bed. Big Mouse, called Little Mouse, I can hear something rushing around the house, huffing and puffing. Well, obviously we can't hear anything, but look at all the things we can see in their house. They've got a bedside table made from, I think that might be a big cotton reel. And look, that looks like a birthday cake candle. And a playing card and a stamp. Oh, what's that? Is it a marble? What a cosy house they have. Doesn't sound like Little Mouse is feeling very cosy though. He looks like he's wide awake and feeling a bit worried. I wonder if there is something rushing around the house, huffing and puffing. Let's find out. Big Mouse opened one eye and one ear. It's only the wind, he said. Can I come into your bed? Asked Little Mouse. No, said Big Mouse. There isn't room. And he turned over and went back to sleep. Oh dear, Little Mouse doesn't look like he's about to fall asleep any time soon. Have you ever laid awake at night and not been able to get to sleep? Makes the night seem like a very long time, doesn't it? Little Mouse lay listening to the wind. Then suddenly, between a huff and a puff, came a tap, 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 tap. Little Mouse climbed out of bed, opened the front door just a crack, and peeped out. Whoosh went the wind, but there was no one outside. Big Mouse, called Little Mouse. I can hear someone tapping. Perhaps there's a burglar on the roof. Oh dear, I hope he's not right. Oh, look, what's this made from? I think it's a chest of drawers, and it's made from matchboxes. Oh, and there's a chess piece, and a watch for a clock. And oh look, I wonder if that's a picture of Big Mouse and Little Mouse together. I hope there isn't a burglar on the roof. Should we find out? Big Mouse got out of bed and opened the bedroom curtains. Look, he said, it's only a branch tapping on the window. Go back to sleep. Can I come into your bed? Asked Little Mouse. No, said Big Mouse. You wriggle. Oh dear. I'm not sure whether either of them are going to get much sleep at this rate. Little Mouse lay in his own bed and listened to the wind huffing and puffing and the branch tap-tapping and someone calling, hoo-hoo, hoo-hoo. Little Mouse climbed out of bed again. This time he looked under it. Then he looked in the wardrobe and feeling very frightened, he cried, Big Mouse, I think there's a ghost in the house and it's looking for me. It keeps calling hoo, 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 hoo. Oh, do you think it is a ghost? Let's find out. Big Mouse sighed, sat up and listened. It's only an owl, he said. It's awake like you. Can I come into your bed? Asked Little Mouse. No, said Big Mouse. Your paws are always cold. And Big Mouse pulled the blanket over his head and went back to sleep. Do you think Little Mouse is going to go back to sleep? Ooh, doesn't look like it at the moment, does it? Little Mouse got back into his own bed, and he lay and listened to the wind huffing and puffing, the branch tap-tapping and the owl hooting. But, shh! What was that? Big Mouse, he called. I can hear a drip. It's drip-dripping. I think it's raining inside. And Little Mouse jumped out of bed and fetched his red umbrella. Big Mouse got out of bed too. He opened the front door. Be quiet, wind, he said. Be quiet, branch. Be quiet, owl. But they took no notice. Then Big Mouse went into the kitchen, turned off the dripping tap, and put away the umbrella. Can I come into your bed? Asked Little Mouse. No, you're nice and snug in your own bed, said Big Mouse, taking him back to the bedroom. Do you think he's going to settle down now? Ooh, let's find out. Little Mouse lay and listened to the wind huffing and puffing, the branch tap-tapping and the owl hooting, and just as he was beginning to feel very sleepy indeed, he heard, "Whee! Whee! Whee! Big Mouse," he called, "you're snoring." Oh dear, oh dear. Wearily, Big Mouse got up. He put his earmuffs on Little Mouse's ears. He put a paperclip on his own nose, and he went back to bed. Do you think that's going to do the trick? Oh, let's find out. Little Mouse lay and listened to nothing. It was very, very, very quiet. He couldn't hear the wind huffing, or the branch tapping, or the owl hooting, or Big Mouse snoring. It was so quiet that Little Mouse felt he was all alone in the world. He took off the earmuffs. He got out of bed and pulled the paperclip off Big Mouse's nose. Big Mouse," he cried, "I'm lonely." Oh dear. Big Mouse flung back his blanket. "Better come into my bed," he said. So Little Mouse hopped in, and his paws were cold, and he needed just a little wriggle before he fell fast asleep. Big Mouse lay and listened to the wind huffing and puffing, and the branch tapping, and the owl hooting, and Little Mouse snuffling, and very soon he heard the birds waking up. But neither of them heard the alarm clock, because they were both fast asleep.
There were some key words that you may have heard during the video. So there was mouse, brown, window, wind, owl, tap, leak, snore, paperclip, silence, and lonely. So these are some of the key words that we will look at during the week. What happens next? Well, let's answer questions about the story. Number 1, who are the two main characters in the story? Can you think who they are? You can say it out aloud. And then I'm going to count to 5, and then I'll show you the answers. So hopefully you'll know the answer before I show it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The two main characters are Little Mouse and who's the second character? Big Mouse. Did you get those correct? Little Mouse, Big Mouse. They are the main characters in the story. Let's have a look at another question. What 4 things does Little Mouse hear? Can you remember from the video, what 4 things did Little Mouse hear? You don't have to get them in the right order, but can you remember the 4 things Little Mouse could hear? So I'll count to 5 again. Think about the 4 sounds that he hears, or the 4 things that he hears. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The first sound was Little Mouse hears the wind, or he heard the wind. Little Mouse hears an owl. Did you get those 2? Little Mouse hears the tap. Oh dear, I should have a capital M for mouse, because it's a name of a character. Number 4, Little Mouse hears snoring. Who was snoring? Can you remember who was snoring? Yes, you're right. It was Big Mouse. Question number 3. How did Little Mouse feel when he heard the sounds? How do you think he felt when he heard each sound? Can you think about it? You can say it, and later you can write the answer down. I'm going to show it. It's actually a word that we talked about last week when we did George and the Dragon, it's similar to a word. Do you remember when we were describing the personality of the dragon? He was scary. So Little Mouse was not scary, but scared. Now this is one that you can do by yourself at home. Where is the story set? Where did the story take place? Where did the story happen? So you can write that answer at home. And the next task, draw a picture of the two characters. Label each character. Well, we found out who the two main characters were above. So draw a picture of the two characters. Little Mouse, Big Mouse. Label each character so when I look at your picture I'll know who Little Mouse is and who Big Mouse is. And finally, draw a picture of two things Little Mouse heard. Draw a picture of two things Little Mouse heard. What sound did they make in the story? Now, I'm going to let you do that at home, and then we can focus on what's going to happen next. So once again, when you finish your work, my computer's playing up. When you finish your work, email your work to yr3@grange.harrow.sch.uk. I look forward to seeing your work, and thank you to all those people who have been emailing their work. It's been wonderful to see and to read. Bye for now. Take care.